Do you like bananas?
Yes, I do.
What would you do if your partner didn't like bananas?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Shove it down his throat. Shove it up his ass.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Went off the deep end fast there.
What is this story?
Okay, so it's titled, Am I the Asshole for Having a Craving of Something That Makes My Partner Sick?
Okay.
I, 25 female, recently found out I was pregnant with my partner, Lyle's 26 male baby. We've been together for 3 years and we live together. Lyle has ADHD, which he refuses to get treatment or medication for. He's pretty normal about 85% of the time, so I haven't really pushed it. One thing that really affects him, though, is sensory problems. He has a few, but the biggest one is bananas. He cannot stand the smell of a banana or the taste of banana. He's accidentally eaten something with banana before and ran to the bathroom like a child to throw it up. If we are somewhere and someone is eating a banana, he will claim that he can smell it in the room and make us move with the threat that he will be sick. If we don't move, he will start gagging, make himself throw up, and I've seen him start shaking too. This has happened in public before, and it's extremely embarrassing. Anyways, let me tell you what happened. I was really tired, pregnant, and hormonal yesterday, and while I was watching my show, I had a craving for a banana, which I normally avoid when around Lyle, but pregnancy cravings are just too strong to resist. He was going to get groceries from work, so I called and asked him to get me some bananas because I was having a craving. He started begging me before he even got them to not eat them in the house. And I just got fed up and told him no, that I was carrying around his child and the least he could do about it, since he's not the one having to nurture the damn thing in his stomach, was to get me a banana. I'd read online that this was probably the baby's way of telling me it's deficient in potassium, and that's all I could really stand to eat at this point was the damn banana, and I don't want to deprive it of what it needs. He argued back and forth, asking me to eat it outside at least, and out of frustration, I just started crying, which made me feel embarrassed. He finally gave in to calm me down and brought it home. I'll admit, I was still really mad and upset from our argument on the phone when he came home, and I, in that moment, couldn't face getting up and going to the kitchen. When he came into the living room and sat on the couch, I asked him to peel it, cut it, and bring it to me.
Hit him where it hurts. Jeez.
I really didn't think that this was a big deal, but he blew up.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. What do you mean? You just said that he shivered and ran to the bathroom to throw up. You didn't think it's a big deal? Okay. Sorry.
I have a lot to say on this one, actually. I told him that plenty of people have foods they don't like, and he either needs to grow up or seek help for his illness because he's acting like a child, and his problem with bananas is completely abnormal. We argued a bit, and he finally got up, yelled that he was tired of my bullshit, and left the house. He hasn't been back yet. I get his issues are a sensitive topic for him, and when I was talking to my friend about it, she said she had an autistic sister, and what I did was a bit messed up. So Reddit, am I the asshole?
I'm going to go with yes.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Like, I understand it's a really irrational fear and issue that he has with bananas. Like, there's not liking texture and like being like really like cringe to, sensory anything. I totally understand that. Whatever's going on with him is whatever's sorry, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Whatever's going on with him is clearly like above and beyond that, which is why I think it's fucked up, because it's like, okay, if it was just like he's like, oh, I really just don't like the texture of it, and she's like, please, like, I'm so exhausted, like, please just give me the fucking banana. But it's
how far is the walk from the couch to the kitchen, bitch?
Yeah. And I haven't been pregnant. I don't know how crazy like the hormones are. I really don't. So it's like I try to be sensitive there. But like when you know that somebody has such this like fear, no matter how irrational it is, that's not how you handle it. And she said, seek, like, either grow up or seek help. And it's just, that is so not like a, what is the word? Like, supportive way. And
and
to like help
to be a partner too.
To like help somebody get help. Like, whatever he's going through, like, that's some serious shit. And yeah, it sounds funny. It's a banana, like, but it's serious in his brain. So yes, that was rude as fuck.
It's so weird. There's so many little comments that I didn't even pick up the first time I read it. But the one where she's like, he's pretty normal about 85% of the time. I have ADHD, ADD.
Dude,
like,
that's
what?
a lot. I'm pretty normal like 50% of the time. What?
That's high for me. I'd say 30.
Yeah.
My ADD is out of control lately. I literally was like in the middle of my NFL draft the other day. And well, not the other day. It was a couple weeks ago now because we're into the season. But I'm sitting here in the office, actively participating, have to pee. Get up, go pee. After I'm done peeing, I literally go ask my dad. I was like, do you want to go to Trader Joe's? Totally forgot about my draft. How?
Yeah.
How? My brain is just so...
I know.
I will get it.
I will write half an email and then I'm like, oh, I want to do something else. I pull something else up and then I get halfway. There's something else I need to do. Like,
then forget about task in 1 and 2.
Yeah. And I think
Story of
that
my life.
and a lot of like with like any type of like mental health issue, which I didn't really understand this until recently, but it's all on a scale. So like there's the sufferers and the non-sufferers. So a lot of people can probably relate to a lot of ADD symptoms, right? Especially in our day and age, because we're so like with all of the fast screen time that we have and like growing up with that, it's like our brain,
it's wired different now.
Yeah, our span, what brain span?
Attention span.
Yeah, like it's just not it's just not as it's not how it used to be, right? Like and so a lot of people can probably relate to these type of feelings, but all of these things are on a spectrum. So sometimes it really like just when it disrupts your work, when it disrupts your relationships, like that's when you start to have an issue. But a lot of people can relate to a lot of these mental health topics.
Yeah. I just don't get it. I really, really don't get this one. I think the fact, like, kind of what you said, like, oh, hit him where it hurts. He literally went to the store out of his comfort zone. And maybe he is on the spectrum. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I definitely have like sensory issues. But also like we all, no matter if you're neurotypical or neuroatypical, divergent, like we all have what's called a sensory profile. All of us do. We have like sensory seekers or sensory avoiders. Like we all have this specific palette of our sensory likes, dislikes, needs, wants, whatever. If you want to take one, it's called the sensory profile 2. It's really interesting. I don't know if you can take it actually if you're not an OT, but it's cool. And so like, why force something on him when it doesn't affect him?
Right.
Like you said, where I was actually trying to go with this, like hit him where it hurts. Like he brought you home the bananas and now you're going to go push it one step further and say, hey, can you open this? Can you peel it? Can you cut it? Who fucking cuts their bananas? Just bite it like a normal person. But then you could say, Morgan, well, some people don't like food touching their teeth. Apples and bananas, they get grossed out when it touches their teeth, so they have to cut it. That's how they normally eat it. So their normal is just different than your normal.
Yeah.
But why did you have to push him so far?
Yeah, cut it your fucking self.
Get up.
Like she was just being a bitch on purpose. Like,
and you guys all know how much I appreciate pregnancy and it should be an Olympic sport. Pregnant people should get medals automatically. If you are pregnant or have been pregnant and whatever, fucking you get a medal.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking hard. But at the same time, get up, walk your 5 little feet to the kitchen and cut your banana.
Not even that. Why can't you just like let him bring it to you, bring a knife, and then cut your own banana?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of options that we could like have him not be interactive with something that literally makes him cringe so much. And again, there's probably something else going on because there's sensory issues and there's sensory like you said, we all have these palettes, but then it's like the fact that he was like throwing up and shaking and trembling. It's just like there's something.
It's honestly really normal.
Really?
Yeah. So like when I was doing shadow hours for OT, I never had a pediatric rotation because I automatically knew I didn't want to go into pediatrics. But when I was doing all my shadow hours, which was, I think I needed 100, I did all of mine in pediatric clinics. So I worked with OTs that did feeding therapies with kiddos that had sensory aversions to food. And there's a lot of kiddos that have like literally only 3 foods that they eat. I think one of the kids I had was like that. I think he had like 3 or 7. I'm forgetting the number now. It's been almost 10 years. but he only ate like Eggo waffles. And like that was it. Literally only Eggos. Lunch, dinner, breakfast, Eggo waffles. And so that just like wasn't functional for him in his life. So they were trying to introduce new foods to him. And so they started with like foods that were like similar, but not the same. So the next step was like pancakes. And so there's like a specific process with foods where first you look at it, and then you might touch it, and then you might smell it, and then you kiss it, and then maybe you'll lick it. And then maybe you'll actually taste it. Like there's an actual methodology that OTs will use for feeding therapies like that. Forgetting the actual name, but it's a good one. And so there's some kids that would literally at the sight of a pancake or at the sight of a banana would act like this. And they just can't help it. Yeah. It's just their wiring. They're just
well, and I have weird, like not to that extent of, but at the same time, I sometimes like bodily waste will freak me out, especially
bananas fuck me up. I fit.
Really?
I have to have the perfect texture of a banana. It can't be too hard and it can't be too soft. Otherwise, I will gag.
Yeah. I mean, I have things where it's like, so
what's the bodily fluid one?
So yeah, so like with bodily fluid, so it's just like obviously there's spit in my mouth. I'm not worried about the spit being in my mouth, but when I was doing a COVID test and I'm spitting into a tube, then it's like my brain did this weird thing where I pictured like drinking the spit again. And it was like, I started gagging just looking at my own spit into the tube. And it's like bodily waste that's like separated from me. Like that, I don't like that. Like if it's separated from a human for like at least like a amount of time. Like,
how do you do when your friends throw up around you?
I haven't really had friends throw up around me, but like I had a friend throw up when she was driving and in her car and then I was like, I started laughing and then I started
Were
gagging.
you in the car?
I was in the car. And then the smell like kicked in and then I started gagging and I literally was like almost about to throw up.
I sympathy puke.
But it was like, oh my God. And it was so funny because I had to hang my head out the window because I was like,
the smell.
The whole like, it was so comical what was going on. But at the same time, like I was like, I couldn't stop gagging. I was like, ugh.
And which almost encourages her to throw up more.
Yeah. And then afterwards, but it was funny because afterwards I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I almost threw up. And she's like, literally, fuck you for not throwing up. She's like, then I won't feel so stupid. She's like, you should have thrown up.
Oh, God. To puke and still be able to drive.
Yeah, it was impressive, honestly.
Damn.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just, I'm not really that good with that type of stuff. But
no, it's amazing I was able to survive in healthcare as long as I could. I had a stroke patient once, and a lot of times after a stroke, you'll have a difficult time managing secretions. Spit in your mouth, like your tongue might not work. Half of it might not work. So you have a hard time swallowing your own spit. And so a lot of times there's drooling or just like an abundance of saliva in the mouth.
Oh, the hockaloogie thing. Like I could never watch that. I like gagged every time I'd watch that. You know how they pull loogie? They go to the ground and then they suck it back up. Every time I'd
No. So I literally was like trying to help him manage his secretions. And in the hospital, you have like the same thing they have at the dentist, essentially, like suctions. Yeah. But there's a switch to turn it on and off. And so he still had like great motor movement of his hand. And so I'm like, oh, he can manage it by himself. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Was not fine. Accidentally stuck it way too far back.
Oh, no.
And it was so bad. And like I literally like realized that I'm a sympathy gagger for sure.
Ooh.
And so he starts like, and I literally have to like, I'm holding the puke bucket with one hand. I'm like trying to breathe and it smells and I'm this was pre-COVID. I didn't have a mask on in the hospital. So there was nothing.
Oh no.
I didn't have gloves on.
God, it's now, I give so much respect to the nurses out there because holy shit. Like, can you imagine too if like you are in a hospital throwing up and then your nurse just throws up with you?
I was so close. I also spent a lot of time in the bathroom with patients. Like my toots smell bad. These people could clean out. Is this why you have like a
fear of like tooting or something? Because like you just don't like, I don't
know.
But then it's like, why are we okay with our own farts? Like our own smells like are fine. Like you can recognize that they're bad, but like you're not like upset about it.
I know Lyle, the therapy gecko, when he came on was like, yeah, like, you know how people like the smell of their own farts? And
I saw that clip.
Yeah.
I saw that clip and Justin was like, no.
He's like, what?
No wonder you're scared to fart in front of him. He doesn't even like his own farts.
No, exactly. He doesn't understand it. And it's not that I necessarily like the smell, but there's some times where I'm like, what? Okay, what is that smell? You're just kind of like curious about it. You don't necessarily like it, but you don't also hate it at the same time. It's a confusing relationship to have with farts.
Yeah.
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 This is way too much today. This is way too much.
Oh, God. No, honestly, like.
Same. Yeah. Okay, cool. So the top comment on the original post, people did call her out for the asshole, which was good.
Okay.
Because that could have gone a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
I think she did herself in there when she went above and beyond for the peeling.
Yeah.
Which is what the top comment.
Peel it and cut it, bitch.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah. Like it was punishment for the fight. That's what it was. It was let me assert my dominance over you and punish you for this fight
with
we had.
One of your biggest fears. That's what gets me is that like.
It's literally using his weakness against him.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's what makes me wonder. I'm like, have you never had some like, I don't know. I just don't understand. Like, can you not relate in any way where you realize that that's fucked up? I know it's a banana. Like, rationally, yes, it seems silly. We get that. But like, rationally, we also know that humans are so fucking complex.
I don't know though. Like, I get it because like, oh yeah, banana. But like, some people are like, I love fish. I could sleep in a bucket of tuna. And I'm like, fish? Nope. I'm not touching that thing. I don't want to look at that thing. I don't want to smell that thing.
I want to know who Morgan knows that sleeps in a bucket of tuna.
Oh my God. Oh my God. We need to phone a friend on this.
Okay.
Literally.
I will say though, I have a really fucking weird relationship with fish where like with raw fish.
Yeah.
Where sometimes like I think it tastes really good, but other times it's like, again, like the texture and like the thought process where sometimes I feel so gross. I was in Hawaii.
Meat in general.
Yes, me too. Meat in general. And I was
chewy chicken, instant gag, can't eat it.
I was in Hawaii and we got like this poke bowl and then I all of a sudden was like sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. And I was just like, we were with a bunch of his friends and I was like, do you have a stove? And he's like, what?
Because you wanted to cook it?
Yeah, because I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Like, it's not the day. Not today.
Yeah, I was in a grocery store with Justin recently. That's who I was going to phone. And
phone him.
I wonder if he'll even remember it as being like a critical part of my grocery store experience.
This is so cool.
Hello.
Hi. So I have a question for you.
Yes.
Remember when we went grocery shopping recently and the grocery store had a certain smell?
Yeah, a little bit.
Do you remember what the smell was?
A fish smell?
Yeah. Yeah, it might have smelled like fish.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
Kind of.
Do you remember what I did when it smelled really, really bad like fish?
Yeah.
What'd I do?
Gag.
I literally, and then what did I have to do?
What do you mean?
Well,
What
did I do?
I walked away? I don't know.
See, it wasn't as traumatizing for him.
Right.
But I literally I gagged. I could not control myself. It was so bad. So I'm gagging.
Yeah, it's almost like you're acting or like overreacting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He literally thought it was like I was being dramatic about it. He's like, he literally was like, oh, okay, come on. And I'm like, no, this is uncontrollable.
Yeah.
It fucking reeks.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. And so I literally had to like walk away to the other end of the grocery store. And the whole
You're very sensitive.
Okay, thank you. So let's get to Banana Boy's response. So that's the whole point of this. Okay. So it was a comment on the post by username Kyle, not Lyle.
Oh.
Hey guys, it's Kyle here, Jessica's boyfriend. Yes, she literally changed my name from Kyle to Lyle and thought that was good enough. One of her friends sent me this and I want to set the record straight because I am beyond pissed off. First of all, I want to address this quote, refuse to get treatment or medication bullshit. I was diagnosed with ADHD as a fucking child. It took until college to realize I needed to adapt things to how my brain worked rather than slap a medication over it and try to pretend I'm neurotypical. I adapt well in life. I graduated on the dean's list in college, and I'm doing well at my dream job and thriving as a neurodivergent person. Do I still forget about the laundry sometimes or have a hard time focusing on certain things, especially when I'm tired? Yes, and it pisses Jess off. Does it mean I have, quote, issues? Fuck no. This medication BS started almost immediately after we found out Jess was pregnant, like a month ago. It wasn't approached like, hey, Kyle, I noticed XYZ that seems to be hard for you. I think you need help with that. It was instead first asked if my ADHD was going to, quote, spread to the baby. Literally, spread was used.
Wow.
And second, told that I should probably take this as a chance to get it under control because she, quote, didn't want the baby to grow up dealing with any problems. Also, I don't know how far along she is, but finding out a month ago makes me, it's more than likely to be recent. A month ago, so you're 2-ish, 3-ish, you couldn't get your ass up to cut your own banana? You're not on bed rest.
I don't know. I think the first few months, though, you can get really nauseous. But yes, but anyway, but to your point, keep going.
Now, let's get to the sensory aversions. I have been through therapy to manage it. I can now, after years, touch paper towels without my gums hurting, but bananas, I just cannot deal with. People who aren't neurodivergent and don't deal with sensory aversions don't understand that it is literally physically painful in many cases and genuinely makes me sick. I don't make myself throw up. My body naturally reacts like that. Jess has told me many times how embarrassed she is by it and how it affects her, and her solution is exposure therapy. What she doesn't realize is that it's essentially the same thing as torture to me. There are some cases, like the paper towels, where I've realized it's just a little too common, but bananas are not common enough for me to sit there and torture myself. Just to make her feel less embarrassed next time, she wants me to try a smoothie her sister makes and lie about the ingredients. Finally, other details I think are important. I'm just going to bullet these because I'm going to write too much otherwise. Jess was binge watching a show on Netflix and wanted me to bring her a banana while she watched the show on the couch. We are in a 1-bedroom apartment, and the smell would probably be there at least for a day. We had gotten in an argument about my ADHD and me not having meds, see point 2 and 3, the day before, so this didn't seem like a sudden craving, but more a cruel jab since it was still tense.
100%.
Yep, called that.
Yep.
The pregnancy wasn't planned. And no, random commenter, I didn't fucking rape her. She was on birth control and it failed. What kind? Asking for a friend. She wasn't too sick to get up. She was too lazy and pissed and told me to go cut it for her, quote, because I just want to watch my show in peace. I'll admit I snapped when she insisted I cut the banana and do, quote, just this one thing for our child to show I care. As if she didn't go out and quit her job pretty much immediately without even telling me.
Wow.
And I'm now dealing with all of the household expenses while she shops.
What?
What the fuck? I've also been caring for most of the house.
I want her rebuttal on that one. I'm like,
literally. I've also been caring for most of the house because she already claimed being too pregnant from morning sickness. So yes, I was fed up with her bullshit. ADHD is not an issue. It just means my brain works a little different. I'm so tired of the ableist bullshit that comes from nowhere. Get over yourself. Lots of other comments from him as well.
damn.
Which I will just say, like, as an OT, whether this was a kid or an adult, I would never ever make this goal a part of their treatment plan because it doesn't affect their life. Like the paper.
Banana.
Yeah. So if you look at the comparison that he gives, like the paper towels versus the bananas, he uses like more common.
Yeah.
But you could use you could change that term out for like more important in your day-to-day occupations. You actually need to use paper towels day-to-day or some sort of towel or whatever to wipe things up, to clean, whatever. So that aversion isn't functional for his life. It's going to impede his quality of life. Maybe. Bananas, he can go the rest of his life avoiding bananas. It's not going to impact him in his life. No OT or therapist would make it a goal for him to touch bananas if it's not severely impacting his life, quality of life, or function.
Right. God, and this also like reminds me too. I forgot that this happened, but there was a time. Oh my God, it was so fucking brutal. So basically,
Oh my God.
my dad is a dentist. And he gave me whitening trays and then like this whitening stuff. And I was in high school at the time. And so I was like, cool, I want white teeth, whatever. Like I
Overdid it.
He basically said like only leave it in for a few hours, but it was annoying to leave it in like and just like go about your day. So instead I put them in and I slept in it. And I woke up and I can't even explain how treacherous the feeling was.
Hurts to breathe.
But it was like, it was this way where it was like, I don't even, the cringe that I felt, like I was writing with a pencil, a fucking pencil. And the sound of the pencil on the paper was like nails on a chalkboard. I was in school and I was like falling over. Like it was just the most horrendous thing. And then there was a guy that once told me, like before that biting into a towel with dry teeth was one of the most like cringe-worthy, awful visions that he's ever had in his entire mind. And I imagined it while my teeth were that sensitive. And I literally was just like, shaking. It was so,
my God.
I'll never forget like how fucked up that day / 2 days were, because I was just like, any thought or sound was nails on a chalkboard like times 100. It was so bad.
That's how he feels about bananas.
Exactly. And that's exactly why I'm relating now to that because it's just like, but yeah, she's being such a fucking brat.
Well, and so there is another comment from him that goes, literally everything was fine and just wasn't like this until she got pregnant and suddenly did a 180 on the personality. It's been a month and it's just gone downhill. She wanted to keep the child, and what can I fucking do about that? Regardless, I think I'll be leaving. Which, the fact that she quit her job the minute she found out she was pregnant.
That's super weird.
This feels like a baby trap to me.
Literally.
This feels like a baby trap.
Honestly, because it's like the fact that her birth control failed, that does happen.
It does happen.
Right? But then the fact that you quit your job immediately.
2 + 2 = 4. It's
1 + 1 = 2. Yeah, we don't know math, but we know a little bit.
The basics. And the basics is saying baby trap, bitch.
Did you think this when you read this originally?
I didn't read his response.
Oh.
So
okay.
I just read the original post to make sure like at least that was good. And then because what I did is I actually posted on the 2 Hot Takes subreddit and I asked for help.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
And so this one was a comment on there. And so after reading the original and like knowing that it was at least good, I didn't go any further.
Okay. Cool. Nice. So you kind of have these like blind reactions too?
Yeah,
sometimes?
on this one.
Cool.
I try to like conserve reading as much as it fucking pains me. There's one more comment on this best of Redditor updates. Oh, don't worry. I have this whole thing saved already because I'm sure I'll need it in the future. And I'm about 95% sure I'm done with the relationship. As you should be.
I mean, I kind of think, yes, I do. That was my thought. And I support his decision. But then I'm also wondering if some weird shit is going on with her right now. Because if he said she was never like that before.
That also was what like gave me the baby trap idea.
Right.
Like lock him in and then change your whole personality. But 3 years is a long time to not uncover some shit.
So maybe like go to therapy first together and see. I don't know.
I don't know if it's worth it though, because for someone that's willing to like, can you imagine if you had a boyfriend that was like, Lauren, your ADHD isn't real. Your anxiety isn't real. You just need to get medication and you'll be fine. Like just discrediting who you are.
Actually, like that actually really pissed me off because like as someone who has ADD, it's like, no, don't just slap Adderall. Like Adderall is just like a questionable drug, right? Like, and so
it's literally an amphetamine.
Yeah, and I'm not against Adderall, but like I definitely
helps.
Yeah, it definitely helps. I just think that like to just be like, you need medication. It's just like there are other like healthy things that you can do to help ADD too. And so
it's a Band-Aid, not a solution.
Yeah, I just think that it's like really important to like focus on the thing. Like you know, we were talking about this before where it's just like there, you could put tennis shoes right by your bed. So when you wake up in the morning, you put them on, like it just like starts off a more productive day. You can like, there's like reading a book for me instead of going through TikTok. It helps my brain like stay very focused and more like, I don't know.
I love reading.
Yeah. There's just things that you can do that I just, it's annoying to hear somebody just be like, take your fucking pills and shut up, you know? It's like,
it just discredits like who you are too. And it's, I don't know.
And I'm all for medication, but like, but don't just slap that on. I don't know.
Well, and like, so for me, it's like, I think like I recently went on medication again for a little bit and it did really, really help. And then I just kind of like was like, I keep forgetting to take it. And so I stopped taking it again. But when I do take it regularly, like I notice a huge difference. But it's also the fact that like I take it regularly, but I also have really like good habits of like, I have a calendar, massive calendar, and I write everything down in it now. So I'm also implementing other techniques.
Yes.
Because it's not just the medication that helps.
Yeah.
It definitely makes things easier and makes me feel more like regulated, stable, chill. But at the same time, it's like if you don't have those other techniques, you're missing a part of the equation that's going to help you succeed.
Yeah.
Which is why I like that he highlights with his ADD, ADHD. He's like medication that's just like, no. Like for me, it's like I learned how to succeed with these other tactics and blah, blah, blah,
which
blah.
is great. And that's why I think ADD is like a little bit different than like, every single type of mental, it's all different. Mental health is all different. But like, I do think that ADD, there are a lot of really great things that you can implement and like do with medication, like try before doing medication. Like, so.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting too. And I think screen time is something we've mentioned already with like, there's a rule in OT that like, if you have kiddos, your kiddos should not see the screen of a phone or iPad before the age of 3 because it changes the way their brain is like wired.
Wow, I believe that.
And there's so many other little kid shows like Coco Melon and there's other ones that like change the way your kid's brain's wired and their dopamine receptors work. And so like it's actually really bad for your kids. Like Coco Melon is not good for your kids.
Yeah.
It literally increases like the dopamine to the fact like their brain changes. Wow. And so
crazy.
I think it's interesting to see how ADD, ADHD has also like the diagnosis rate has increased, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Like look at TikTok.
Absolutely.
All of our attention spans are like changing because of TikTok. Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Yeah. Went down a rabbit hole.
Gotta go.